This video is a response to an open tag that's been going around to show your largest and smallest folders and your largest and smallest fixed blades. Now, a lot of people have shown these Victorinox knives as their smallest folders, but the knife on this is tiny. I'm not even sure I really consider this as a blade. These things are more of a tool. This one replaces the toothpick and the tweezers with a little flashlight and a pen. But they still have the same actual implements on them. They have a small pair of scissors, which will cut fingernails, along with a diamond file for smoothing your nails out once you cut them, and then a small knife, which this is pretty much only useful for cutting a loose thread off clothing or some similar task to that. This is just a small, I'm going to put this in the class of a little hygiene tool. Some people may think, oh, only women carry stuff to take care of their nails. But if you actually do hard work and you start to put a small rip on your nail, if you don't take care of it right away and cut that down past that rip, it'll get a lot worse. And then that can get very annoying. So I'm going to move these out, and I'm not going to consider those as my smallest folder. There are other small multi-tools like these that have a very similar tiny blade. I'm not going to consider those either for the same reason. So what I'm going to say is my smallest actual folding knife is actually a knife that you can use. This is a Cold Steel Recon 1. Let's see if I can give you a little close look at that. This is an actual little knife. It's hard to get a hold of it, but once you can get a hold of it, you can open it one-handed. It actually has a triad lock. You can see the stop pin in there. It's a little baby triad lock. So this knife can actually do work. It actually is strong. It has a strong blade and a strong lock. It's only a 2-finger grip, but you can get a hold of it pretty securely and you can bear down and put pressure on it. So since it's actually usable as a knife, I'm going to put this in the class as my smallest knife. And it is nothing more than the scaled down version of this. This is an actual full-size Recon 1 with a 4-inch blade. This is another really nice knife, but no, this is not the largest folder. So I'll just leave, you know what? I'll just leave this up here as something to fill the frame a little bit with the baby knife right beside it. This is a possible candidate. It's a Cold Steel Spartan. These are quite nice, but it's still not the largest folder. Next in line, I'd like to show you is a Cold Steel Voyager. These have a 5.5-inch blade and tanto, and this is just a really nice knife. These actually carry pretty nicely in the pocket. But that still may not be it. I have this Cold Steel Luzon. This one has a 6-inch blade. Now what I'm going to consider as my largest folder is this Talwar. This only has a 5.5-inch blade, same size blade as this Voyager. But overall, it has a longer tip to handle length than the Voyager. And almost identical, maybe a 1/4 inch less tip to butt length as the Luzon. But it's a lot taller blade. It weighs a lot more. It's a much thinner grind because it's a flat grind over a tall area. So this is very slicey. And it's a lot heavier. It's G10 construction instead of plastic. And it has a very heavy-duty triad lock instead of a liner lock. So this knife is much more capable. So this is what I'm going to consider my largest folding knife. The Cold Steel Talwar. 5.5-inch blade, S35 VN steel, G10 handle, and this little tab here is a pocket opener, and that works amazing. So that'll open it as you draw the knife out of your pocket. It turns it into essentially an automatic knife, and that is a lot of fun. You can also manipulate this knife one-handed if you're careful. So there it is, a cold steel Talwar. Now let me clear everything off and we'll move on to the fixed blades. Now for my smallest fixed blade, I'm going to say my Rednecker neck knife. You have a Kydex sheath. Normally I don't have the lanyard on here and I just drop this in the pocket. That's a lot handier, I think, than carrying it as a neck knife. So that's going to be my smallest fixed blade. Now, one of the things I like to keep in mind with a fixed blade, if I'm going to carry one, it's got to be able to do heavier work than a folder. Otherwise, why carry the fixed blade? Why not just carry a folder? It's easier to carry for the same size blade. So it has to be of a good steel that's very strong, and it also has to have a very usable handle. The handle should be more usable than that of a folder. So it has to at least have enough handle to span your hand, so you can get a comfortable grip on it and you can bear down on it and do work. And this has that. I do have smaller fixed blades than this, but I don't even count them as fixed blades. I won't carry them, and I have about no use at all for them. This is the smallest one that I will use. Now, for largest fixed blade, let me move these down lower. I have 3 knives that are in contention. One is this Ontario. Also this Condor Mini Dooku. And this Schrade, which was a knife that Chris Tanner designed. All 3 of these in the sheath are about the same size. So I'm going to take them out of the sheaths and we'll compare them and we'll see what we have. I already know which one I like the best, but let's compare them all side by side and see, since they're pretty similar. I'm going to have to move this one out of the way. Okay, let's talk about these a little bit. This one here isn't used. I have another Condor Mini Dooku, which I've had in a few of my videos in the past, and it has been well used. That one was in 1075. I liked it so much I got another one. This one is in 420 HC. Some people will turn their nose up at 420 HC. But one thing that 420 HC has that most people don't realize is incredible toughness. If you look on Knife Nerds, I'm pretty sure the toughness of 420 HC is an 8. 3V is a 9. Your 1095 and 01, A2, those steels are around a 4 or a 5 on the toughness. So this actually is a very good steel for a knife that's going to see heavy duty use and it's going to see a lot of abuse. So don't be so quick to turn your nose up at 420 HC. It's probably actually a better steel than the 1075 that the other one is made out of. I have very high expectations for this knife and I can't wait to get this out in the field and do some chopping and some batoning with it. This next one may be the shortest one of the bunch, but it is also the thickest. I'm not sure the exact thickness of this steel, but it's more than 1/4 of an inch. This thing is pretty much of a beast. So that's why this is in the running too, even though you can see it's definitely shorter than the Mini Dooku and definitely shorter than the Chris Tanner's knife. Actually, the one here from Chris Tanner and the Mini Dooku, okay, the Chris Tanner's one is, that's the biggest one. It's a Schrade SCHF 43. So this actually is the biggest one. This is 5/32 inch steel. I think this is also 1075. It's got a long handle, and this does split wood really, really nicely. But one thing it does not do, this knife is not nearly as good to be used as a machete. This one, this is 3/16, so this is slightly thicker steel than the Schrade, but it also has the wood handle, which is smooth enough that you can allow a little slippage in here for some extra momentum on the blade. It's also a little thicker. It's tapered nicer. It's just a better grind for the purpose. So whether you're chopping wood or whether you're clearing brush for a campsite, or you want to baton some firewood or some wood for crafting, overall this is a more useful knife. This with a straight spine, it is a little bit more convenient to baton than this knife with the curve and then the drop off. So you have to make sure you hit it right here on this end, but it does a very good job. But it flexes into the role of a machete very, very nicely. That's something that this Ontario will not do. So out of these, for me, for my largest fixed blade that is the most useful to me, it's the Condor Mini Duku. This wins hands down as my best large fixed blade. This would be great for 3Cs and carry. Now if it's winter time, this might actually be the better carry, only for winter time if you anticipate having to split firewood. We'll get times when there's been snow on the ground for 3 weeks and everything is soaking wet, and then the only way you're going to get to dry wood is by splitting. So this, with its thickness, blows right through wood of just about any size. This is an incredible knife for splitting. So when you do have to do it, this would be the best choice. But if I had to pick one of these three, definitely the Condor. This Mini Duku covers all the bases. It does everything that I want a large knife to do, and it does it well. So let me put my choices out here. Largest fixed blade, smallest fixed blade. That kind of puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Largest folder and smallest folder. I hope you like these choices and my reasoning behind them, and we'll see you on the next one.